everybody, Mary here. We're ready for our next stretch and recovery session. So let's get our things ready. So we're going to get our trigger ball. You're going to get your foam roller, get your strap or towel, whatever you have to help you stretch through primarily your hamstrings. And then if you have a pillow or a blanket that you can kind of fold up and have ready so it will be there for helping you with your stretches, that would be great too. So let's start first with the foam rolling or the trigger ball. We're going to use this under the back first, the upper back. So sometimes it's better if you have the foam roller under the upper back. I'm going to slide back here so I'm a little bit more on my yoga mat here, which also you can use if you have one of those. So starting with that space right at the edge of the shoulder blade at the bottom up to the top. So that's kind of where we're working first of all. So as you lay back onto that, you can just keep your head elevated. You can put fingers by the sides of your head, help support your head up if that works. And you can roll a little bit one direction then the other. And maybe kind of release back just a tiny bit. Listen to your body as you do this. It will help tell you how far and what direction you need to go. And as you go through this, if you find a direction different than where I'm going with this, please follow what your body suggests for you to do. Because if you just kind of take a moment, pause and listen, it'll tell you, oh, that's where I need a little more work or a little less work. You could go a little bit side to side. You can take one arm down, kind of work through a little bit on one side or the other. And if you're not sure if that's going to work, just try it and see. A little bit forward and back again. So usually we stay off the bones, we stay off the blood vessels, you stay off of anywhere that causes a shooting sensation, like a shooting pain maybe. That means you're on a nerve, but we don't want to be on bones, we don't want to be on any blood vessels, especially varicose veins, anything like that. But anywhere else on the muscle tissue is ideal. All right, so what I'm going to do is going to go on my side so I can work a little bit more through the side here, through the lats. Be careful of your low rib. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on this anyway, but be very cautious of where your low rib is because there's no true support all the way around the rib cage for that. That's why they call it a floating rib. But you can work through the side a little bit. You can kind of roll on your back some and roll forward and back. Maybe get this roller up to the armpit area. You might even be able to feel this into that shoulder blade area. So again, you can kind of roll back a little bit. The arm movement will help a little bit with that as well. So you can kind of feel how things are working as the arm moves around. And then if you want to get more into the arm, that's when you kind of roll into your side a little bit and put the foam roller more underneath your arm. Now this is hard for some people to get into just because we're on the floor and bent in such a position that for some it's just hard to get into. So you can put this on a higher surface, like a table, a countertop, and then you can bend at your hips and then press into this, and that will work pretty well for you too. All right, I'm going to switch to my other side here. Again, if you need to take more time on one side than the other, go ahead and do that. And again, watch out for your floating rib, that lower rib in there. Get into those lat muscles right around the ribs. If you're a little bit tender there, this will tell you it should feel good. But if this is not hitting it for you, if you need another part of the body, go ahead and work on some other part that you need to get into. Again, kind of rolling back a little bit, maybe a little more forward. Extend the arm forward a little bit and work through the back side of the arm, that tricep muscle a little bit through there. That should work pretty good too. Anywhere you feel soreness is where you want to kind of work into. And a lot of times I'm just rolling back and forth, but that doesn't always get it. Sometimes you need to pause and just kind of get your weight heavy onto that spot. Take about 2 or 3 breaths, and then release the weight off of that spot and roll and find another spot to get in there. All right, I'm going to switch to my low back. So your hip bone goes all the way around. You want to get to the back side of that hip bone, staying off the low back vertebrae. You want to be on the hip bone itself. So you can get to it a couple different ways. You can sit on top, hands back behind you on the floor. Keep your tailbone off. So you want to roll your tailbone up to the sky a little bit, and then you can roll a little bit forward and back. You can actually get onto one side a little bit and then the other. And this gets into your glute muscles as well, depending how far across you want to roll. If I'm rolling to my right, I would take my right ankle over my left thigh, keep my right foot flexed, and just a little roll forward and back, and maybe get a little bit more onto the buttocks. So you can do it that way as well. And you go other side too. Just working through all that tension that you might be feeling into the body. This particular stretch, when you get into foam rolling on the buttocks, you can use your foam roller, but you can also use your trigger ball. And you can use both, one at a time. You can use those. All right, I'm going to continue down with legs to my hamstrings. So with this one, sometimes it's kind of difficult to get into it just because of the position you have to be in for this, but you can put your hands behind you again and roll forward and back. If this is hard to do, if you can elevate this position, you could actually use your trigger ball with this. So you would put the trigger ball on top of the foam roller and then put your leg on top of that if you can find that one spot that's bothering you, and press down into it. It's going to be hard to do because this is going to roll. So if you have something else that is a solid block maybe, or a stack of books that aren't going to move, something like that, that you can put that ball on and just push your leg down into it, it's going to help release those little trigger spots, which are sore spots, into your hamstring. So you can go forward and back, you can go side to side, you can bend your knee, you can straighten your leg. All that changes the direction of the muscle, that you can kind of get into it there. But if you don't need that in there, you don't have to use it. But the trigger ball itself usually is not going to be large enough to get into the hamstring. You're going to have to use a foam roller for that. So give that a try, see how that works. And then once we get that all good, we're going to switch to the IT band. So for that, if you're going to be on your side, make sure you have your other leg supporting you here. You can have it behind you, you can have it in front, the foot can be in back or in front. Make sure you don't have all your weight on that bottom leg, because that can be trauma for that IT band. It's a ligament in there, a little bit forward and back. And if you prefer, you could just take your trigger ball and press it to the outside, or use the palm of the hand. This is where having that blanket or pillow works well, because you can put it underneath the knee, help support the leg, so the leg now can relax and it's not being compromised in this particular angle that it's in. But you can just rub through that a few times, help that relax, find some sore spots. And then you could find that one spot that just really aches, and then you just press down into it, take your 2 or 3 deep breaths, and then you can relax that out and just continue with that. Same thing with inner thigh. Maybe switch to the other hand for that. You can do this on top of the thigh, but you can use your foam roller on there as well. I'm not getting there yet. I'm going to get to the IT band on the other side first. So, and then we'll come to the quads. Unless you already know you need to get into those quads, then you can do that by laying on the trigger ball or laying on top of the foam roller, which I'll do in just a moment. But after I get the IT band, especially if you need your IT band to get a little bit of work, or maybe the inner thigh, again, you can use the heel of the hand for that. Anywhere that your hand can reach, and I'll show you on the calves next, use your hand, use your thumb, use your fingers to massage through those muscles, because really you're just trying to open them up, lengthen them out, and all of this kind of work does that, which will make your stretches so much more effective. And that's really what we need. We need to lengthen out the muscles by reducing the amount of knotting that we have in that fascia, or the bumping or the soreness. We're trying to work some of that out. All right, so quads. If you want to lay on top of your trigger ball, if that feels pretty good, you can go with that. Or what I prefer is the foam roller. It's a little easier for me to get into what I need to work. So again, stay off your kneecaps. And you're just going to go from the top of the kneecap without getting on top of the actual kneecap. Stop just short of it. And then you're going to go to where the crease of the thigh is. And then depending which direction your legs are pointing, so let me roll this way a little bit more. So if I roll my toes out or my toes in, and you still can't see that. Here we go. So if you roll it one way or the other and hold that one position, roll the foam roller one direction, pausing where you feel some tightness and just take a couple breaths, and then continuing, and then rolling back the other way. That's all going to change the direction of the muscle, and it's going to feel different. Watch your low back. So if it's swaying to the floor, you want to use some abdominal strength to keep that lifted. Tilt your tailbone down. That way you keep the pressure off of the low back area. If it's really tender down that way, keep the tailbone tucked under. And then when you're finished with that, let's relax off of that. Down to the calves. So calves, again, you can use a trigger ball or you can use the foam roller. So you can use one or both legs at a time on either of those devices. You could cross one leg over the other, or just keep one foot on the floor as you roll through the other side. So that would be if you're on the foam roller. If you're on your trigger ball, you can work through it that way too. So you've got two large muscles on either side of the back side of the calf that you can work through, and where they connect right at the crease of the knee, just right below that crease, you can put your two thumbs there and dig in, because there's another muscle underneath there. Popliteal is what it's called, the popliteal muscle, that also interchanges with these two big muscles on either side of the lower leg. And so when you press into it, if you feel tenderness there, that means you've got some kind of tightness in that part as well. So the trigger ball won't get to it, neither will the foam roller. You need to get your thumbs to dig in behind there. And so you just push in, separate, push in, separate. And then you can start working that down the leg so that now you can start separating the left and right side of the muscles on the calves as you work down. And it should feel like, oh, there's some soreness I can work out. Not sure if it's going to feel good, but that's what you want to do. All the way down, just until you get to that Achilles tendon at the very bottom. You want to stop short of that. But you can work through there. And again, just kind of working through with that tennis ball or the foam roller. You can work it right down the center of them as well. You can rotate your leg to the outside or to the inside. You can also use that blanket, support that leg up, and just use the hand or the ball pressure on either side of that leg. Maybe that's what you need to do. So working through that. All right, so the last place, of course, the foot. So let's work through the foot. A lot of times we have pressure points in the foot that can relieve the calf muscle. So as you're rolling through on the tennis ball, be gentle. Don't be ferociously heavy on it, but enough that you can feel some work going on. Going side to side between the ball, the big toe, and the little toe. Again, be gentle with that. Wrap your toes around the top of it. Work down the inner arch, outer arch, and right down the center, and press the heel down, maybe even the back side. So the back side of that heel, thumb. So as you're working through this, again, as I was saying, if you find those tender spots, work through them. But now you can take that thumb into those spots as well and just press into the bottom of your foot and just hold the pressure there. It's acupressure. So as you do that, it should help relieve somewhere in the body. All the nerves end up in the bottom of the foot. That's why acupressure is done so much with the foot. And it may even release some of the tension you're feeling in the muscles. So especially think about your calves. If you can release what's going on in the foot here, because when things in the foot get tight, what's it going to pull? It's going to start pulling what's in your calf muscle, and then it's going to pull into your hamstring and all the way up to the low back and up to your shoulders. So again, if you have something happening up top, there might be something down here that's triggering it. So we want to foam roll the whole body. You want to do the trigger point work on the foot with your thumbs, wherever you can release it out. Any other parts of the body, work through all of that. All right, so let's release off of that. So let's go ahead and start with stretching with our strap. So go ahead and find that. And we're going to stretch. Either sitting on the floor, or if you need to elevate yourself, you can use that pillow or that blanket behind you. Just get it to a height that you can lift your hips up so you can sit comfortably. I want you to get used to sitting on the floor. So anytime you have a chance to sit on the floor, get down there, because you're using muscles to get down there and to get up, as well as stretch while you are here. So you're stretching hip muscles right now. All right, so arms overhead. Watch out where the buckle is if you have a buckle in a strap that you're using. Arms nice and wide, and your spine's nice and tall. Relax down your shoulders and just bring your arms behind you. You can bend your elbows if that feels better. You can bend and straighten your wrists if that works for you. You can go a little bit to one side. You can turn your eye gaze down. That usually feels pretty good just for the neck. When you're in your stretches, you move slow. And before you come out of the stretch, notice if you need to support your spine when you come up. By that I mean, if you have a side bend, a hand is on the floor, then you're going to want to push yourself up first, bring your top hand down, and then straighten your spine up. We don't want weight overhead to strain the back. So get into a nice stretch, reaching, opening. Turn the head one way or the other. Deep breath in and out. That deep breathing is what helps the body relax. And finish up your stretch. All right, so now we're going to take the strap behind us. Hold so that your palms are facing to the front. And then I want you to have your elbows bent in, so you're going to have a short hold onto that strap, and straighten out your arms behind you. And that will give you a little bit of a stretch into that chest. Maybe take your chin up towards the sky. And you can bend those elbows a little bit and then come back out with the straight arms if that works for you. And if you're sitting in a chair, you might just have one hand behind you and kind of turn away from it. You can do this on a wall. You can do this in a door frame. So angle the elbow, put your forearm against the door frame, turn away. You can do straight arm into the doorway. You can do both arms same time, lean through. Or it's really ideal to take your arms in all different directions and press through that door frame, including down low. So that stretches everything there. So we're trying to get it here. So we've done a little bit here, we've done a little bit out there, we've done a lot up here. So those are all good directions to go. So let's take one more deep breath wherever you want to be with this. Exhale, let it go. All right, arms out to the sides, right arm under the left. Take your hands to opposite shoulders. Extend your elbows forward, chin to your chest. Now, if that feels good, stay there. But if you want to try a little more stretch, bring your head back up. Bring the back of the hands or palms together. Elbows still go forward. You can even take your hands forward. So by that I mean elbows up and forward, hands forward, chin to your chest. See how that feels in there. Again, you don't have to stay totally still. You can move slowly around to increase, decrease your stretch. Stay 3 more deep breaths. Breathe into your side ribs. Try to inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And then slowly come out of the stretch as slowly as you went into the stretch. So the head comes up, hands come back in, elbows in. Relax arms out to the sides and down. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple times. Maybe move the neck around a little bit. And let's do the other direction. So arms out to the sides, left arm under the right. Work those fingers together at your shoulders, elbows up, chin to your chest. Maybe start taking elbows away from the chest. And if again you want more stretch than that, bring your head back up. Bring the back of the hands together, palms together, elbows up, elbows forward, hands forward, chin to chest. These all add a dimension of stretch. See how that feels in there. You might try to feel the shoulder blades contract together instead of separating apart. You can also get that same effect by pushing the hands or the back of the arms against each other. And all that kind of action affects what you feel in the upper back. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. Keep your spine tall. And slowly bring the head back up. Release the arms in, arms out to the sides, and release down to the floor. Nice. Let's work our hands back a little bit and just take the lower rib up to the sky. You can have your fingertips on the floor. It's just something to kind of hold you there. And if you can, bend your elbows in together so that you can open the chest just a little bit more. Slow down your breath in. Slow down the breath out. One more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. And release, come back up. All right, shoulder rolls up and back. So seated twist, so if you need to stay propped up on whatever you have underneath you, that's fine. If you want to bring that down off from behind you, you can remove that pillow or that blanket. Seated twist, so we're going to take one hand to the opposite knee, tall spine, breathe in, exhale, rotate your ribs and your shoulders and your head. Now if you want to increase the direction of this, you can change your foot position. So you can take your left foot underneath. Oh, I'm sorry, that's reversed. Right foot underneath. Left knee is crossed over. Bring your arm to the inside of your chest and your thigh, and you can press your arm and your leg together to get you a little more twist. Keep turning your head to the back as much as you can so you get that stretch, which for some will travel from the back of the head down along the spine, between your spine and your shoulder blade, down to your low back. As you inhale, you can release that stretch a little bit. As you exhale, get a little deeper into the stretch. And go 3 more deep breaths. Your exhale is when you twist a little more. Last one. And then relax back to the center. Reach your arm out behind you. Maybe reach it up and behind a little bit. Just kind of move that arm around the shoulder. Keep your legs where they are, even if they're just in that simple cross. We're going to lean forward. Get a little stretch going into the hips to start with. Keep both of your feet flexed and just reach forward. You can reach your hands forward. They can be underneath to help support your body weight there. The leg that's on top is the one that's getting the stretch. You can relax your head down, or you can keep your head elevated. Go where it feels good for you on this. And I always say that, go where it feels good. But sometimes it's a challenge, and that's okay. Go where you feel a stretch that feels like, oh, I can hold this for 3 more deep breaths, because that's how long we'll be here, is 3 more deep breaths. And when you're ready to come up, use your hands underneath your shoulders to help press your body up, and then we're going to switch the legs. So if you need a windshield wiper the legs a little bit to help relax the joints, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to switch the cross of the legs. So if you had your legs in a cross-legged position, switch them. And then if you had one knee up, go ahead and put the other leg position there. So left leg under, right leg on top. I cross my foot over a lot, but you don't have to. You can just keep it right here. All right, so now we're going to take this arm across. So if you're here, and then twist. If you are here, and then twist. Sometimes we don't want to go for the most extreme stretch to begin with. We want to do a little kind of a precursor to see just how things are feeling. But the idea is that your arm, wherever it's touching the leg, that arm and leg press together. So as you press together, you're going to be able to get a little more into your rotation. You're going to be activating muscles to get into that stronger twist, and that's going to help them relax a little bit more. So you do want to contract, you do want to push your arm and your leg together, and then turn your head as far as it'll go, maybe lower the chin towards your chest. As you inhale, release your twist a little bit so you get a nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, Twist a little bit more, pressing the arm and leg together. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. And we're going to slowly release back to the center. Take your time to unwind. Take the arm out to the side, maybe twist a little bit that direction. Maybe take it above. Again, just a little movement around to see how it feels in that shoulder. And then without uncrossing the legs yet, now we're going to lean forward. So find a stretch that you can hold. Let's go 6 deep breaths. Slow inhale. Slow exhale. See if the body is willing to relax just a little bit more on your exhale. And it doesn't have to be your hip, it can be a shoulder, it can be muscles around your eyes. Somewhere in the body you relax a little bit more. And one more deep breath. And then slowly work your hands underneath your shoulders, press yourself back up. And then unwind. And then take a moment back and forth. All right, let's work over onto our side. Go ahead and keep your strap close by. Okay, so we're working through the quadricep. So we're going to start first on the back. This will probably give you a really good stretch. You may not need to do the second version I show you, but just in case, let's try this. So take your feet wider than your shoulders. You're going to press into one foot, bring that knee to the center, and then let that hip come up. As you kind of do that little twist motion, you're going to feel stretch to the hip flexor and your quadricep. If you don't feel this, try this on the other side. And if you still don't feel the other side, then that's when you'll take a hold of your side position, knee in front, hand to the ankle, bring the knee back. Now, if you can't reach it that way, that's where the strap comes in. It goes around that ankle and comes back. And you can stay on your side or you can roll to your stomach. So the idea is that we get the stretch in the quadriceps and into the hip flexors, however you want to get into that position. So we found our position. Let's hold it here for 6 deep breaths. Always make some adjustments if you need to. If you're on your back with your foot pushing to the floor, if it's not wide enough, move it out a little bit further. You can always add some directional movement with the arms. So one arm can go past your head or both. Maybe that adds to your stretch. Maybe turn your head one direction or the other. Maybe that adds to a neck stretch that you are needing. So always kind of move other parts of the body as what makes sense for you. Try to feel that breath going into your belly and into your side ribs. Feel that whole section of your body expand as you breathe in. And then let's slowly bring everything back to the center. If you're on your back, you'll just kind of move your hips a little bit left to right before you go the other way. If you're on your side or on your stomach, come back to where you can get a hold of the other foot with or without your strap, and then move into that other side posture. So again, ideally, knee in front, hold the ankle, bring the leg back behind you. If you try to bring that heel behind you, it might trigger your hamstring into a cramp. So that's why I say knee in front first. Again, as you move into whichever preferred position you like, make other adjustments. Maybe you have one arm moving one direction or the other. Maybe turning your head one way or the other. Focusing on deepening the breath. Sometimes we just forget how to breathe. We breathe so that our body stays stressed. It stays tense. We need to let it relax. The normal state for the body is relaxed. And to do that, we breathe into the belly. And we slow down the breath. And ideally, if you can just bring your thoughts to focusing on your breath in and your breath out, you'll be able to relax your mind as well. And one more deep breath wherever you are. Exhale, let it go. Slowly come back out of wherever you are. Windshield wiper through the knees. Or if you're on your side or on your stomach, go ahead and come back over onto your back. And now let's all take a hold of the strap. Let's bring one knee at a time into the chest. Hug it in, little rock side to side. Point, flex your feet. Maybe circle the feet around the ankles one way and then the other. And let's place the right foot on the floor. The left foot gets that strap. And we're going to flex the foot and pull on one side of your strap and see if there's any tension or tightness in the outside of the shin, and then rotate the other direction. So it's like if you were to twist your ankle, when you roll your ankle, that's the direction you want your foot to be going. You want the toe side to go inwards, and then you want the pinky toe side to go outwards. That side to side motion. All right, so now for the hamstring, we're going to hug that leg in. Try to keep it as straight as you can. The other knee can be bent, other leg can be straight, other leg can be hovering above the floor. You can even bring your head, neck, shoulders off the floor. If your towel or strap is long enough, you can put the hands at the ends of your strap or your towel and just hold it behind your head. Keep your head elevated. Sometimes this feels really good too. You could, if you have the buckle, you could create that loop. So you could thread the end. I'm not going to do it, but you could put it in there. And then you could have it looped there, and you could just relax totally this way as well. So go where you feel the best stretch. Maybe you straighten out the opposite leg and you reach from that hip out through the heel, keeping the foot flexed. So you reach it out long. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose again. Three more deep breaths. And then slowly relax. We're going to take that strap off. Bend your other knee. Let's take this foot across, keep the foot flexed, a little bit of a figure four stretch. So start with your knee pressing away first. And then if you want to add more to that, you have a few options. You can take the leg across one way or the other. You might feel the right stretch you need there. Or bring your hands around that thigh and hug it in. You can hold it here, or again, you can go a little bit to one side or the other. See how that feels. And when you find that perfect spot, we're going to continue for 6 more deep breaths. Find some part of the body that you can just release the gripping. Maybe it's your opposite hip that's holding really tight. Maybe it's a shoulder. Maybe it's the back of the neck. Let it go. One more deep breath. Let it go. Go ahead and release yourself down. Let's take that leg we are stretching back up to the sky. We're going to straighten out the other leg. All right, knee to chest. Let's bring it across the body. So now we have a little bit of a low back stretch. You might have some IT band stretch if you take your leg straight. And maybe you prefer to have your strap around the foot. So you could start with your leg straight and bring it across. And you could let the hip come up if that feels right, or you can just keep the hip on the floor. The closer the leg goes to the head, the more stretch you're going to get in this leg. So if you get to where you're not feeling any stretch at all, try to keep that leg close into your head and then go across. If your knee is bent, keep that knee close to the shoulders and go across. You could reach your hand the opposite direction, your eye gaze away from the leg. Keep deepening the breath. One more deep breath. As you exhale, bring your head back to center if it's not. Soften the knee if it's not. Bring it all back to the center. A little hug in to the outside of the ribs. Inner thigh stretch. So you can stay here. I see this a lot where people have their knee bent a lot. We're trying to get that knee to open to a 90-degree angle. So that's where you're trying to get to if you're not there yet. You could also just straighten that leg out to the side without your hip rolling up, the opposite hip. You always want to try to keep the hips level. So if your hip's rolling up and over, that's a point that you know you still need to stretch this direction a lot because we're not there yet. So same thing, if you bring your foot closer towards your head, you're going to get more stretch. The other leg can be straight, but you can bend that knee if that gives you a better stretch as well. You could support your leg with your foam roller or your pillow or your blanket. And then just let the whole body relax. It's amazing how much of a release this gives you when you rest your leg on something. And then you can turn your head away. Your arm can stretch out to the side. Focus on deepening your breath. You can let your whole body relax with this stretch. One more deep breath. Exhale, let go. Bring everything back to center. Slowly bring that knee back into the side ribs and then back to the chest. Hug it in and relax the strap. And then you can move that leg around a little bit if you need that. We're going to switch to the other side. So here we go. So start with a nice straight leg. You're flexing your foot. You're going to pull on the left side of the strap and then the right side of the strap, just turning that foot at the ankle joint. See if there's any tightness along the shin, calf, side part of the body there, lower leg. And then we'll go into that hamstring stretch. So it might take a moment for it to feel like it's stretching. So give your body time to feel that stretch. Again, you can just hold it right here with your hands up close to the foot, or you can take the ends if your towel or your strap is long enough, or if you have a loop in the strap, just put the hands behind the head. The other knee can stay straight. You can bend it. You can lift the leg up. Again, see where you feel the best stretch. If your head is off the floor, that's okay too. You can slowly bring the head off the floor to release some of that stretch. Breathe in. Exhale, bring the head closer to the floor. And as you breathe out, feel that muscle relax and stretch a little more. And you can continue the movement of the head a little bit up, a little bit down, or just stay in one place that feels good. Deepen your breath in. Slower breath out. And one more deep breath. And as you exhale, slowly release out of this stretch. Move that strap out of the way. We're going to cross that foot over the other thigh. Keep the foot flexed. First, start with pressing your knee away. See how that feels. If you need to add that little side to side movement to see if you get a little deeper into that stretch, you can do that too. Hang out there if that feels really good for you. Next would be hands around your thigh. Bring the leg towards the chest. Keep pressing the knee away from the body to get the full benefit of the stretch. You can also take your hips, your legs one direction and back to center and to the other side. If you find that one perfect spot, go ahead and go there and just stay there and just see how it feels. Settle into your deep breath. Release any extra gripping in the body. Just let it go. And one more deep breath. Exhale, release. Bring everything back to center and bring the feet back to the floor. Take a hold of your strap. We're going to go across the body first. So for the IT band, we want to straighten out the opposite leg. You can keep this other leg straight or knee close to the chest and bring it across. The opposite hip can come off the floor. At any point, if you have your knee bent, you can straighten that leg a little bit or extend it all the way out so you feel the best stretch. The closer the foot goes towards the head, again, that's where your stretch point is going to be. And you can stretch your arm out the opposite direction. Your head looks away from the extended leg. Keep breathing deep. And one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Bring the head and the arm back to center. Bring that stretching leg back into the chest. Come on to the back. And we're going to go out to the side. So the knee goes out to the side of the ribs. Again, we're trying to get that knee opened up to a 90-degree angle. Try it with your knee bent. Try it with your leg straight, the opposite leg straight. And then you can extend the leg out if that feels better, leg out to the side. Again, if you have something that you can rest your leg on, that works really well. You can do that. Once you get into that stretch, notice that that hip is rolling up because we're going to have to figure out how to keep that hip down. Usually keeping that leg up a little higher, supported, will work. So you want to put something underneath it so that your hips are level, something underneath that leg. Let that leg totally relax and let your body get into that stretch. And your opposite arm can reach away. Your eye gaze can turn away from that stretching leg. Go back into your belly breathing. Relaxing your face. Relaxing your shoulders. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, let go. Bring your head, your arm back in. Soften the knee for that stretching leg. Bring the knee to the outside of the ribs. Nice little hug in. And then release out. All right. So one more inner thigh stretch, butterfly. So recline butterfly. Bend your knees. A couple ways to do this. You can have your feet on the floor together. The knees go wide. This is for the inner thighs. So I'm going to show you about 3 or 4 different versions of this stretch, not necessarily butterfly. Knees to the chest, feet together. Bring your hands to the feet, the ankles, the shins. Just again, so you can get the arms to press on the legs, get into the inner thigh stretch. If you want to go straddle, stretch. Fingers around your big toes, legs straight out to the sides. You can do one leg at a time on that stretch. If you prefer to use the gravity a little bit more with the full body, get into the frog position. So this is going to be knees out to the sides of the hips, inside of the feet on the floor. You're just going to let your hips rest down. You can come to your forearms if you'd like. You can shift back a little bit or forward just a tiny bit to kind of feel that stretch. You can also go into straddle position upright. So take your legs out and try to flex the feet with the toes turned back and then stretch forward. This is a great one if you've got your foam roller or your blanket that you can use to kind of support you as you come forward. So any of those, and just kind of hold it there. Nice deep breath in and out. I'm going to stay right here. You stay where you are. Again, nice inner thigh stretch. Breathe in deep. Exhale slow. One more deep breath. Exhale, let go. Gently press yourself back up. If you're on the floor, go ahead and roll to your side. Come up to seated position. Bring your strap with you. We're going to go into a more upright kind of a hamstring stretch. So for this, if you want more inner thigh, your leg's going to be out to the side. If you want true hamstring stretch, it's going to come straight out in front of your hips. So I'll show you both versions of this. So with the leg out to the side, we're going to put the strap around the foot and then pull our body to the side. Now you can turn your ribs, your shoulders to the foot and come forward. You can stay more sideways and do this more of a side kind of a bend position. You don't even have to take your hand up, but that increases the stretch. Maybe you just bring it here and you feel enough stretch, but where do you want to feel it? With this, I feel this more in my low back than what I do in my leg. So if I don't want to feel it there, if I want it in my leg, I face my leg and then I pull myself down. So if you have your hips square, same thing. You're just going to press yourself or pull yourself forward, hold that position. So it depends how you want to feel this. So wherever you want to be, we're going to hold it for 5 deep breaths. And if you're sideways, you can always rest your weight on that arm, which can be across the leg. It can be on the floor if you're holding onto the strap. I like to press against the opposite leg. On the next exhale, we're going to release the strap. Press your hands to the floor to come back upright. And then a little release there. All right, switch it to the other side. So again, leg can be straight out, pulling yourself forward. Try to keep that knee straight. Or you can take the leg out to the side of the body. This half dragonfly is what it's called. And you can go to that side direction or turn your ribs and shoulders to face that leg and pull yourself forward. So as you get into these stretches, you're going to feel different parts that are tight that you want to make little adjustments. So again, to do so, just go slow so that your body knows where it's trying to go. And maybe release that stretch a little bit first before you get into it, before you change your direction. Keep deepening your breath. One more deep breath. And exhale, let go. And then press your hands to the floor, walk yourself back up, and shoulder rolls, and then whatever adjustment you need to do. Let's roll to the stomach. On the forearms, and just a little bit of a press up cobra stretch. So tailbones down, your feet are wide, no pressure in the low back is the goal. So take your feet a little wider if you need to. If you need a little bit more up stretch, release down first. Take your hands either behind your shoulders and press up. This will be an up dog position. Press your shoulders down from the ears. You can press the top of the feet to the floor to lift your thighs. Or if you want a little different, kind of in between stretch, your hands go wider than your shoulders out to the corners of the room and then press up. So any of those, you can take your chin towards your chest or you can take your chin to the sky, whichever feels good. You can release down and come back up again. We're going to stay for another 4 deep breaths. And then on your next exhale, slowly release down. Stack your hands, forehead down. Just a little rock at the hips side to side, massage out through your low back. One more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. Just bring your hands under the shoulders, lifting hips up and back into child's pose. Now, if you don't like child's pose, stay on all fours and go into a cat pose so that you can arch your spine up and release it back to neutral and continue arching slowly into the cat back and back to neutral. If you like child's pose, set your hips back. Just let your spine round down. Just let everything kind of settle in there. Letting your spine relax. And one more deep breath. Exhale, let it go. And then we are ready for Shavasana, our final resting pose. So if you wish, you can come onto your back. You can come onto your side. You can sit up. Wherever you are, just get your body in a position that feels comfortable. So if you're on your back, let your legs go about shoulder width apart. Let your toes fall to the sides. You can tuck under each of your shoulder blades. Lengthen the back of the neck. Let your chin incline towards your chest. If you're on your side, then bend your knees to where you're comfortable. Rest your head on your arm. And if you're seated, nice tall spine. Keep your rib cage lifted up. Shoulders relaxed down. Bring your chin in and down just slightly. And now let's all take in a deep breath. Pause at the top of the inhale. Exhale, let it go. And one more time. Deep breath in. Hold at the top of the inhale. Slow exhale. And just some slow, deep breaths in and out. Begin to release the gripping around the head and the eyes, muscles around the jaw. Release down through the throat and the back of the neck and out through the shoulders, down the arms, down to the hands and the fingertips. Feel the release travel down through the heart center, down through your digestive system, releasing the gripping in the right side of the buttocks, down through the leg, down to your foot and your toes. Release the gripping in the left buttocks, down through the leg, down to your foot and toes. Follow the breath. Slow inhale and a slower exhale. Imagine the whole body breathing in on the inhale, the breath coming in through all the pores, through the skin. And then releasing out the air, out down through the feet. The inhale, bringing in energy to the full body. The exhale through the feet, releasing, letting go of that which we no longer need. If you wish to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer, please feel free to do so. When you feel ready, if you're on your back, you'll gently roll to one side. Once you're on your side, you'll gently bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. And once there, we'll take our hands to the sides. We'll inhale, lift the arms overhead, palms together to the heart center. And again, hands to the sides, lifting, gathering energy, vitality, and joy, bringing all these good things to our hearts. And that's our class. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed that. It's my pleasure being with you this evening. You all have a great night. I will see you soon.